Good coffee. As I head out on another camping location, I need a little bit more time to prepare, so I got to get away from the camera so I can get everything all settled up and ready to go. So in the meantime, what I thought I'd do is I'd do a little bit of a collection, little bits and pieces of modifications I've made to the trailer that didn't make it to other videos, ideas, and especially tweets, because I've got a lot of comments from viewers, really good ones, suggested new ways of doing things, so I'm going to include those as well. But I also want to talk about one scary issue with a fiberglass trailer or any trailer, and that's leaks, because I had one. I wasn't leaking, the trailer was, so this is important if you got a fiberglass trailer. Nothing overly exciting, little minor bits, but hopefully you'll get something out of it. Anyway, let me show you. A couple of videos ago, I showed a remote camera on the top of my trailer, which I used to monitor my solar panel as I was going down the highway. It was just a test. It wasn't the original intention for that camera. What I really wanted that camera for was to put it in the back of the trailer so I could see what cars are behind me when I'm driving down the highway. However, on that first test, the camera died within 2 hours. It was a dud. I returned it and was looking for something better. And it's a good thing because I think I found something a lot better. Because the original camera was hardwired. You had to bring this cable in from wherever it was, like at the back of the trailer, wind it underneath and through the tow vehicle to get it to the front. That was a bit of a hassle, and I'm glad I didn't stick with it because I found this, and it's made by Auto-Vox. And what's neat about this is it's a remote camera, a backup camera, but it also has a solar panel with it. So to hook the camera up to wherever you want it, you don't need any wiring. So here's where I keep the backup camera on the trailer. It's just above the spare tire and on my supports for the solar panel. Because it's meant for a license plate, it's got 4 bolts. But I can line these up with my supports, and I've just got bolts and wing nuts so I can take it off quickly, and a little bit of Velcro to keep it from vibrating. It's adjustable so I can move it up or down like that. The only thing I'd rather do is have some kind of protection above and below it to protect it from rain and moisture. And it has this little monitor. It's not very big, but that's okay. It's actually pretty close to the height of a rear view mirror anyway. Once attached to the windshield with the suction cup and light adhesive, it provides a really good view of behind the trailer when backing up or traveling. But the neat thing about this is I could put it on the back of the trailer and then move it, say, to the back of the Jeep when I'm lining up the tongue of the trailer. And there's nothing fancy needed for this. I just used a wire loop through the license plate holes to simply slip the camera through it and lean it backward a little. This provides a view of the hitch ball. In this split image, the monitor is on the left and the right is from another camera on the tripod. The monitor image is actually sharper, it's just my dash camera didn't really focus well. As you can see, I lined up with the hitch perfectly, my first try. It's supposed to be able to charge up in any daylight. However, the bonus is it has a USB port. So if it does need a little boost, I can still use a USB cord. The USB cable and the 12-volt cigarette adapter, which is great because, again, the one I had before, it didn't even have an adapter. I would have had to have wired it into the system. So it seems convenient enough, and it also has a little remote button, which could also come in handy. For more info on the Auto-Vox camera and monitor, please check out my video description. But there's something else I want to show you in the back as well. So behind the spare tire, I have a little ladder, but it's not that little. It's actually 8.5 feet high, but it telescopes down, so it's nice and compact. Fits right behind the spare tire on the bumper. I've just got a little bit of padding and I just strap it down. And I've used pool noodles with duct tape in behind here so it doesn't scrape against the trailer. It's a perfect location. It doesn't take up any space that I'd use for anything else. And you wouldn't believe how handy it is. You know, if you need to clean your solar panel or clean snow on the roof or to escape a bear, you got a ladder for that. I'm sure some of you caught my early videos in the fiberglass trailer and know that the #1 priority I had when I first got it was to rip out the galley, replace this whole unit with a brand new one from the manufacturer that didn't have a sink, that had a better stove, and that I could add storage to. But one thing that I'd been trying to find, and it took me a while, is a way to store kitchen utensils. I've got a lot of them. I use them for cooking, and I originally put them up in this shelf here. But what I was really looking for was a good utility rack, and I finally found one. This one's made by KES. I don't know what that stands for. Keep Eating Simply. That would work for me. And it's great. I've got it up with screws. I'm not afraid of using screws. Some people are. But it actually comes with self-adhesive tape if you want to go that way. But it's got hooks, and you can move them back and forth and take them out, adjust them. I just tweaked them a little bit with pliers so they're a little tighter. But I really like it. It's in a good location. And yeah, I can put everything up there just like that. And the nice thing about that is I can still use the stove. It doesn't interfere. However, there's more. Because, oh, by the way, I can also use this for a frying pan. And I should get my frying pan. Just hold on a second. Because this is something else. I had asked in a couple of videos ago, what's the best way to store a frying pan? And a lot of people had some great ideas, but for me the winner was a person named Dan, who suggested, well, just grab an Amazon envelope with a bubble wrap and it's perfect for storing a frying pan. So that's what I do, is I just put it in an envelope and I put it in my dish pan. It doesn't interfere with anything. I can keep it seasoned, you know, oil in it. It doesn't drip on anything. Perfect idea. However, let's just make sure. And yes, a frying pan can go up there. However, there's one thing more, and I would take the frying pan off for this, is if you see in behind, I have a stretchy strap. These are the kinds of straps you get for backpacks. It's usually in the camping section in like a dollar store or a hardware store. But I put snaps on the end of it so that I can just stretch that across, and that keeps things from jiggling around when I'm traveling. So I can actually leave them up there. I don't have to put them in a cupboard when I'm traveling. It just leave it like that as long as it's not too heavy. I kind of think it's what I was looking for, and I'm happy with it. And no more drawer diving for a spatula. Outback campers do come with rear drop-down stabilizers, but have nothing except the jack post at the front. Therefore, I added stabilizers because I found that the jack just didn't stabilize things enough, that when you're walking around, there's a little bit of wind. The trailer seemed to be really wobbly, and on my A-frame I had 4 stabilizers, so I think this type of trailer needs them as well. The only problem is the type that I've got, if you're on an upslope like I am now, I can't actually fold these back. What I have to do is just raise the front jack a little bit, probably that, and now it goes back. I merely bolted these to the tongue with a piece of aluminum tube for a spacer. In folded up position, they don't extend below the frame like scissor jacks do. Well, one idea I think a lot of people appreciated is when I found a way to incorporate a pop-up shower in a small fiberglass camper, because everybody knows there's not a lot of room in here. And I knew when I came up with the concept that I'd modify it as time went on. And I had some really good comments from my viewers, so let me update you what I've done recently. And the first thing is with the shower curtain rod. Now, it used to be in a bag like this, but I found a better place to put it, and that is on the valance. I never even knew what a valance was for in the first place, but it's a great place to put a shower rod. I just made 2 straps with snaps on them. Just unsnap it, down it comes. Now I can unfold it, but before I do, I want to show you what I changed over here. Now, of course, when I made these 2 holes here, I expected I'd change the design later on. It just happens that way, right? But I realized when I did the shower rods here, it was kind of low, that I really needed it a lot higher so I didn't get the water on the curtains and in this shelf. So I made 2 special brackets right here. And let me show you how I made those brackets.
Using a scrap piece of 1/2-inch PVC pipe, cut 2 small pieces. The bracket is made from a 1/2-inch cross fitting, which consists of 4 slip-in outlets. Take the small pieces of pipe and slip them into 2 opposite ends with a little epoxy or PVC cement. Finally, cut the cross fitting in half with a hacksaw and sand down the edges. What you end up with is 2 brackets. Just drill holes for screws and you're done.
Well, not a lot has changed with the curtain rods. One still goes into the other with the elastic. Very easy to set up. But one thing I did do is I changed that complex way of hanging it up on the roof, on the ceiling, I should say. I've just got an epoxied hook on the ceiling permanently and a little bit of cord. That's all it takes to hold that up. And the rest is just putting it in those 2 brackets like that. So the next step is the shower curtain. And yes, I did put the shower hooks on the shower curtain. I don't put them on separately anymore. But some people say, well, why don't you just thread the hooks through the curtain rod first and then put it up? Well, because if I went around like that, that would mean the opening is on that side. I want it in the front, not the back. So I found a better way of doing it, and that is I just take off this end and start threading these through. Now I've only got 4 until I put that back, and the reason being is so I can go around that shelf and start threading from this side. It really doesn't take long, as you can see. Like that. And the only thing I have to do is just take this off for a second so I can put that last one on, and then there. See, that's a lot more practical. Now I have a second curtain, which I don't have hooks on, and the reason being is because I'm using snaps. Just go on like that. And that. Let's turn that a little bit so go on that way. And that one. And the last one. So you can see that's a lot higher. It's a lot more practical. I'm not going to get any water splashing around the sides. So opening the shower curtain is just a snap. And the last thing that I changed is where I keep the shower head. Now I originally had it here on this back shelf. It was a little awkward and it was a little low. I had to bend down to wash my hair. However, I found a better way. And that is grab a hook from a dollar store. Just put a hook up like that. It's an S hook. And There's a little bit of a space between the adapter and the handle. Putting the hook in that space brings it right to the front. There's lots more space. Now I can shower right here without having to stoop down to wash my hair. So that's the new shower. I'm looking forward to using it because it's hot as heck here and I'm sweating. Well, I can't hike, so I might as well stay by the trailer and wait for the rain to come again. But right now it's not raining, so I can talk about a few other things that I've done to the trailer recently. And I've talked about this area right here in the past. This is where the Stinky Slinky used to be. And right now it's just an area for storage of hooks, maybe a bungee, keys. It doesn't have a Stinky Slinky in it anymore, and that's the main thing. But this area here, and I'm swarmed by mosquitoes. It's rained so much, I'm probably going to get attacked while I'm trying to film this. But I talked about this area as well, and I didn't like the fact that you needed keys to get in. And you had 2 locks, so you had to do it twice. Didn't like that, so I got some storm buttons instead. And you just turn the storm button, and you can get in here. Now, this is all irrelevant. It rains a lot. Wherever I go, it seems to rain a lot. And people might ask, well, have you ever had any leaks in your trailer? And even though I've only had this for a short time, yes, I did.
After a lot of rain, I noticed that inside the storage area, water was pooling around the edge. But more shocking was that when I squeezed it, water was bubbling up from below. Not good. When I checked the far side storage, not only did I find more moisture, but when I pressed it, brown liquid came oozing out. Really not good. In comparing the floor to the underside, I discovered there was a gap, a space of a few inches of subfloor. However, by the wheel wells was a lower point, 4 cavities on each side of the tires. Was there something in there? I had no choice but to drill a hole and find out. Yikes! Liquid started pouring out, but how much? Far too much that I anticipated, and I ran for another bucket.
My trailer is swimming in a bucket of filth in the bottom of the fiberglass. This is terrible.
That was only the door side rear. What about the left side? Not only was there more, but this stuff was browner and thicker. It was like I was changing the oil in my engine. I also drilled 2 other holes in front of the wheels. It had a little bit of liquid, but it wasn't as bad as the back. All told, how much brown goo had actually been trapped under the floor? One and a half gallons, or 5.3 liters of yuck. Even the local magpie was grossed out. I made patches of aluminum door screen and covered the drain holes to stop wasps from nesting in there. These drains were now permanent. I found out the new Outbacks already have these drains in place, but the older ones, well, they might be without.
Well, it's another rainy day, which leads me to speculate, what was it that flooded the well of the trailer? Could it have been rain leaking in that trap door on the side, or was it something else? I really don't think just a little bit coming in on that door would be enough to flood the bottom of the trailer. What I speculate happened is when it had the toilet, the water tank, and the water heater, at some point the previous owner did not winterize. It froze, it flooded, it leaked, and I didn't discover it until, actually I didn't discover it until things thawed out, because I bought the trailer in the winter. And when they thawed out, things started to get a little soggy. So it's kind of a lesson. If you have plumbing, make sure you winterize, or be like me and take all the plumbing out. Then you won't have to worry about it. I had leaks, and when I found out where they were, it was determined it was this area right here. Originally, it had a seal, a black weather stripping, which didn't work very well. Get away. And so what I did is I replaced it with the white seal, and I put it, instead of putting it on the inside, I put it on the door itself, and that actually seems to get out. Oh, mosquitoes. Wants to go. They'll take any opportunity to get in, so I better talk quickly.
The old weather stripping was too soft and hollow, while the EPDM was more firm and the ribbing provided more barriers to keep water out.
And now that I have that, I just put it up, go like that, and I've got a perfect seal. And if I want to be more secure, yes, I can get out the key and I can lock these as well. But most of the time, I'm okay with just the turn buttons. Well, that's it. I hope you enjoyed this video, and please check my others as well.
Yep, it's time for me to pack up, fold down, and hit the road. Seems there's a little crosswind just to make life interesting.
You know, being out on the highway to me is the scariest part of traveling. It's not the destination. If somebody makes just a little bit of mistake, and the results could be catastrophic, fatal, or just darn inconvenient. Take your time, take breaks, don't drive tired, don't be in a hurry, don't be stressed. If something happens on the highway and makes you a little flustered, pull over. You need 100% concentration.